Hi, I'm Rich Goodman, Senior Manager of the Career and Alumni Services team for the T. Howard Foundation.
And I'm Anna Cortez. I'm the Program Associate for the Tech Program at T. Howard Foundation.
And we're going to talk about interviews. I'm going to be asking Anna some common interview questions.
And I'll give some examples of answers and we'll provide feedback on how to improve to make the best impression in your interview.
Okay, we're going to start with the question that most interviews start with, which is some variation of, why are you applying for this position? Or can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, Rich. I'm a recent grad from UC Davis with a degree in communications. I have interned in various marketing roles, and I'm looking to apply my experience for this role within your company. I'm very passionate about shoes, and so I first learned about this project when reading an article on LinkedIn about your innovative new product launch, and I would love to contribute to that marketing strategy. My internships so far have revolved around marketing and fashion industry, and I've helped create some rebrands for a few similar products. So I look forward to discussing my candidacy for this position.
That was pretty good. Start off with a happy greeting, wasn't too long or too short. She outlined her credentials, her passion for this work, and she also shared experience that directly related to how her goals align with the company's goals. Which means Anna did her research. The more research you do, the more you can answer their questions using their language. Okay, so now we're going to focus on behavioral interview questions, which are tougher questions that are situation-based. What they're actually looking for is how you deal with challenges, how you communicate, how introspective you are, and how you work with others. The classic way to tackle these questions is using the STAR method. S stands for situation. What's the background context? T is task. What's your specific goal within that larger context? A is for action or approach. What did you do about it? And R is for results. Everybody forgets results, but you are not everybody. Try to follow along to see if Anna's character covers situation, task, action, and result. Okay, Anna, could you tell us about a time in which you faced a conflict with a coworker and how you handled that?
That's a tough one. I can't really think of anything. I tend to get along with everyone.
People want employees that get along, but if they ask you for a time that you disagreed or dropped the ball and you say never, red flag. If they ask for a weakness of yours and you say, I'm not aware of anything, nope. Have an answer that's real but manageable and hopefully has an upswing like positive outcomes or at least progress. Diversity makes us stronger, including diversity of thought. So caring enough to say something when you can shows character and investment. So a better answer here would be when you had communication differences or when you disagreed about how something could be done better and you talked through your differences to reach a compromise. Got it? Moving on. Okay, next question. So when you're working with a large number of customers, it's sometimes difficult to be able to deliver excellent service to all of them. So how do you go about prioritizing your customers' needs?
Okay, well, I believe in first come, first served. So the professional thing to do always is to help the first person in line and make sure that they're satisfied before moving on to the next person.
Okay, so generally you want to avoid absolutes. The key word here was always. Sometimes it makes sense to help the first person in line, but that's only one factor. What about urgency, priority? If that first customer takes a week and then in that time you get 10 more easy projects, you might lose customers. People tend to go with absolutes when they're trying to portray confidence and intelligence, but it's also important to show flexibility and mindfulness of many factors. So tell me about a time in which you failed at work. How did you deal with the situation?
Okay, so this is a bit embarrassing. When I worked at a bakery, my supervisor asked me to pick up 40 tins of baking powder, but he didn't tell me that baking soda and baking powder weren't the same thing. So I accidentally brought back a lot of baking soda. So we had to delay all of the orders from that day.
Okay, I know I just said to pick something real, but this has got a pretty big impact. So if you use it, it needs to have an equally big upswing, a positive result, going the extra mile to fix it, or at the very least, a way that you ensured this would never happen again. What's worse though is that Anna passed blame to her supervisor instead of taking responsibility and moving forward with a solution. Speaking negatively about a colleague, supervisor, or customer is always a no. Okay, could you please tell me about one of your proudest professional accomplishments?
Yes, sure thing. So one of my supervisors showed me a procedure to clean up some old client data But there was one step that she showed that took a few extra steps when Excel has a built-in shortcut for that function. As the newest person on the team, I learned a little more about the project to see if there might be a reason for the extra steps. Once I was confident that this shortcut would definitely save some time, I shared it with my supervisor, and she was so excited when I told her that she called everyone back into the meeting just so I could show everyone that shortcut. By the end of the week, my supervisor shared with me that the project was expected to take all week, but with that shortcut, it only took 3 days.
Great answer. Anna showed humility in a new role by remaining curious and checking assumptions while also being invested enough to innovate. And she followed the STAR method beautifully. If you have a virtual interview, you have to control your environment. So talk with your roommate, check your lighting, your sound, your signal, your background, no messes laying around. Best way is to test your video with a friend, which also gives you a chance to make sure you know how to use the platform. Practice your answers, but the only one you gotta memorize is that first one, the elevator pitch. For the other answers, just practice major talking points instead of a script. You sound more natural that way. Last thing, at the end of the interview, they'll probably ask you if you have any questions for them. Spoiler, you do. Prepare 5 good questions that are specific to this job. You probably only ask 3 of them, but it's good to have extra in case some are answered during the interview. Good questions show that you've done your research and that you're invested in learning more to make an informed decision about taking the job. There's no playbook for behavioral interview questions because there's no right answer, but there is a wrong way to answer. So do your research and don't skip practice.
We hope these examples were helpful, and from all of us at T. Howard, we wish you the best of luck in your interview.